If you've been in trucking for any length of time, you've heard the term CSA scores. Maybe a shipper brought them up to you, or maybe you heard from your insurance broker. Okay, maybe you've just seen it on the FMCSA's website and you thought, okay, but what does this actually do, or what does this mean for my business? Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover here today. All right, so CSA stands for Compliance, Safety, and Accountability. It's a program run by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, or the FMCSA, and has been in place since 2010. The whole idea behind it is to identify unsafe carriers and drivers before crashes happen. So here's how it works. The FMCSA collects data from roadside inspections and crash reports and investigation results. Okay, they take all of that data and use it to measure your safety performance across 7 categories. Those categories are called the basics. You've probably seen that before, the basics, which stands for behavior analysis and safety improvement categories. Each basic gets a percentile ranking from 0 to 100, basically. And here's the part that trips a lot of people up. A higher number is not good, okay? So you get a score of 85, it doesn't mean you're getting a B+. It means you're performing worse than 85% of the carriers in your peer group. That's not good. So what are the 7 basic categories? Well, let's run through them quickly here. Okay, first you got unsafe driving. That covers speeding, reckless driving, improper lane changes, anything that points to a dangerous behavior behind the wheel, okay? Secondly, you got hours of service. Okay, this one is really all about fatigue management. This looks at logbook violations, falsified logs, driving past legal hours, things like that. Third, you got driver fitness. Are your drivers legally qualified to operate the vehicles they are driving? Do they have a valid CDL or med card? Do they have the right endorsements for the cargo that they're pulling? All that falls under that. Fourth is controlled substance and alcohol. This one is exactly what it sounds, okay? 0 tolerance in this category. Fifth is vehicle maintenance, okay? Brake violations, lighting issues, tire issues. The condition of your equipment on the road falls underneath this. Okay, 6 is hazardous material. This one only applies to carriers who are hauling hazmat, but if that's you, it's the one that you need to watch. And then 7th is crash indicator. This looks at all of your crash history relative to the miles that you've driven over a 2-year rolling window, okay? So together, those 7 categories paint a full picture of how your operation runs. Now, where does all this data come from? Like we said, roadside inspections that your drivers go through, those get logged into the FMCSA system. That includes both violations and clean inspections, okay? Then you got crash reports filed by law enforcement. They feed into that too. All of that gets pulled into what is called the Safety Measurement System, or the SMS, and that's where your basic scores are calculated. Now here's something that a lot of fleet owners don't think about, okay? This data is publicly visible. Any shipper or broker or insurance company can go look up your scores right now. That transparency is intentional though, and it has real consequences for how people perceive your business. So why should you actually care about this? Let me give you the practical answer here. Your CSA scores directly affect whether the FMCSA decides to investigate or audit your operation. They affect what you pay for commercial trucking insurance. They affect whether shippers and freight brokers want to work with you. And they affect your reputation in this industry. So, carriers who hit certain thresholds in those basic categories get flagged for what the FMCSA calls alert status. That can mean a warning letter, an investigation, or a full compliance review, okay? None of those situations are what you want to be in. And beyond the regulatory pressure, more and more shippers are building CSA score checks into their carrier vetting process. If your numbers don't meet their threshold, you don't get that load. It's really that simple. You might not even get a phone call explaining why, okay? The freight will just stop. So, now I do want to be fair here though. CSA scores are a useful tool, but they're not perfect. The FMCSA has even acknowledged limitations in the methodology over the years. And there are also data errors that happen, okay? Sometimes violations get recorded incorrectly or they get assigned to the wrong carrier, especially in owner-operator situations. That's why understanding your scores isn't just about monitoring them, it's about actively managing them as well. The bottom line is this: your CSA scores are one of the most visible measures of your safety culture. Whether you're a fleet owner trying to protect your business or a broker evaluating risk on behalf of a client, understanding how this system works is the absolute foundation, okay? If you ignore it, consequences will find you, okay? So stay on top of it and it becomes a tool that you can actually use to your advantage, all right? So in the next video, we're actually gonna dig into each basic category and break down what the violations in each one of them are and what they are really telling you, because the details matter more than most people even realize. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.